Since it stopped raining, we could do our vlog outside, but the cicadas in these trees, can you hear them? They are so loud. And they leave their little shells everywhere after they grow and get big. Welcome to Louisiana.
Welcome to Midlife, Good Life. I'm Tim, and this is
Susan. So this vlog is going to be a little bit different than our usual vlogs, because usually we just talk about life and we may have a funny, nice story to tell or a situation or something, but this one's a little more serious.
Usually our vlogs are hilarious.
Like, people get exercise because of the belly laughs from our vlog.
They hurt themselves usually.
Yeah. This isn't that vlog.
If you live from outside of Louisiana, you're hearing little snippets every once in a while about flooding that we have here in Louisiana. It's a real thing. It's a disruptive thing. We are grateful to say that our house is fine. Our family is fine. Our church is fine. But there is hardly a person that we know that doesn't know someone or have someone connected to them that isn't being impacted in some significant way by these floods. Sunday afternoon, it was time to try to get Adam back to school, which meant driving across the big chunk of the state that's currently underwater. It's slowing some people down. You know, somebody stopped and said there's a truck in the ditch. Well, I'm picturing a little
truck
Chevy,
in a ditch.
Little Chevy S10 in a ditch.
Obviously, these people got on the road, so I mean, the truck could not have been taking that much room because it was a truck in the ditch.
So again, we go about a half mile down the road, and there is a giant semi-truck that is covering basically 2/3 of the road, if not more.
Both lanes,
You just gotta, and again, it's in a blind turn,
It was because the water, in the flooded water, it had just washed the bed of the truck off into the ditch. The cab was the part crossing the two lanes.
Yeah, the backside had been washed into the water, and so we did get by there.
So I think that it was nerve-wracking. There was a lot of water in houses that we passed.
Yeah, it was very disturbing.
Was a lot
you
of
just kind of soaked up
trucks and cars sticking out of the water, sticking out of the mud.
Yeah, just cars that have been abandoned. Places where the cars had gotten washed away and, entire rivers had just swallowed them up. It was very, it was harrowing because we weren't sure about getting across. We were harrowed by the kids behind us. But I think it was just 3 hours of driving through devastation. And I think when we finally got to Bogalusa, I think there was just a sense of exhaustion, just emotionally from having driven through all of it. We were grateful to get there, but there was just some tough sights and scenes.
Several times I cried.
Oh, yeah.
I just cried because there's nothing you can do, I think the most alarming thing for me was that as we drove, before we got to the semi-truck, that was pretty scary in itself. But before we got to the semi-truck, we were going down this road again. We had never been there, had no signal, in the middle of nowhere, trusting that you're going the way you're supposed to go. And I look over in the ditch, and there was a giant brown horse, like hoofs up in the air, belly up, dead. I mean, it had drowned, obviously, and the water had receded then, so it was just a horse laying upside down in the ditch, dead. And then, 5 feet away from the horse, maybe 10 feet after the horse, there was a handwritten sign with markers and a stake that somebody had put in the ground that just said, "Watch out for animals." So obviously there was more animals to come, and I just had some pretty great dread about what we're gonna see there. So, the most fun vlog ever. It's not really entertaining or enlightening or brings joy to your life. It's really kind of sad. But I guess there's some of it that I just couldn't do a vlog that was really, hey, guess what goofy thing's happening in our life? I guess you'd ask the question, how do you go on and live your normal life and be happy and do things and act like life is normal, when for so many around us, like, life isn't normal. That's a really hard balance, because you want to be sure you take all that into account. I don't know.
It's a very strange season for us. I was gonna say, ask you the question: how do you think Louisiana is today? We've had some more rain. Our roads almost flooded pretty quickly today, but it turned out okay. It didn't last. It was a heavy rain, but it didn't last, super long. So how is Louisiana doing?
Don't you find it's amazing though? It is true. This is covered like black, white, poor, rich, male, female, straight, gay. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your lifestyle or who you are or your definition. This affected everybody, every single person. And I don't know. It's just, you haven't heard any ugliness in the middle of it. It's been amazing. People have put things on Facebook about, like, being proud to be from Louisiana and everything. But I think I've genuinely felt that. Like, people are handling this, and they are helping their neighbors, and they're helping strangers. And there's story after story about people helping strangers. And they talk about our Cajun Navy, the guys going out there and just getting their own boats and taking care of it, because they can't wait around for, the government to come take care of it. And those guys are trying to too, don't get me wrong, but they just got to do.
They're not waiting around for someone else to give instruction.
No.
They just get to it. Some parts of life are starting to return to normal. I-10 had been closed. I-10 had been closed. And so all of the traffic from the interstate was being routed through our town, which was just a massive increase of traffic. That ended today.
We live in a small town, so imagine the entire interstate going through your town. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And I don't think there was any horrific crashes or wrecks that happened or anything.
Nobody was going fast enough to...
No. You know what is out there? A lot of snakes. The day it flooded here... We didn't have any snakes. I haven't seen any snakes. I haven't encountered any snakes. But we had some heaping huge spiders. A couple in the house and a couple definitely like under the back porch and under the carport. And I stepped on those things. But we're not talking like a little bitty spider. We're talking like a big spider. Spiders and snakes are going to be problems.
Mosquitoes.
Evidently, mosquitoes. They have come back like with a vengeance. And evidently alligators. There's a couple of alligators in cities that alligators don't normally show up. So this has been a really happy vlog. It's great. But it is good. But for those of you that don't live around here, like, we want you to know, like, this is kind of what it's like. And our drive the other day across the south part of the state was really... really eye-opening. Was really hard.
I think we have a difficult time understanding how to take in other people's stuff. I think driving across the state, if there was one house that had been flooded, it would have been tragic. You would have felt for them. Mm-hmm. But what do you do, as the news reports say, when there's 40,000 homes and families? Just one, you would stop and you'd want to help, and it's like, man, what a mess.
The governor came on and gave a live on Facebook Live. Somebody had posted, was doing it, Facebook Live video this afternoon, and I caught a little bit of it. They are now beginning the same thing they did in Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. In each house, in each area that's flooded, they're going house to house, knocking on doors, because there are some people who maybe didn't have a way to contact for help. Who knows? They have rescued people off the roofs. They have found... He said today, if I have this accurate, we can go back and look too, but that today they had covered 800 homes, and they had found 30 or 60, I can't remember, people alive in 30 or 60 of those homes. I can't remember. That just didn't know how to ask for help, didn't know where help would come from, didn't know that there was any help available. And those people have just been there since all this happened, Saturday, Sunday, Monday even. And now they also, it's interesting, those of you who've seen Hurricane Katrina stuff with the paint on the doors, they said they learned enough from Katrina that they're marking on every house, but instead of using the paint, they're using chalk. So it can be taken off, so you won't have to drive through and see all those marks. But it brings back a lot of memories from that. But 800 homes they covered today, and they found people alive in 30 or 60 of them. I'll try to get that number and post it below. But I was surprised, and I'm like, that's just a beginning. That's 800 homes.
You know, and I think that that's true. I mean, we talk about how people are taking care of each other, and that's just the people who have a network and a relationship structure, and there's lots and lots of those folks. But it does strike me that even in our own community, there are people who don't have that network, and so we don't even know that they're there. And the truth is that no matter where you live, there are people that you know really well because there's a relationship network in place. And they know you, and they know dozens of other people. But everywhere we live, there are people who are off the grid, so to speak, who don't have that support network. And whether it's a tragedy like this or just day-to-day life, they live isolated, and they could really use being brought into the grid.
So probably what we just need to say for this one is, instead of, I mean, yeah, go enjoy each other, because we do, but go check on your neighbor.
Just connect.
You don't know what this current situation is, so that's it.
Take care, stay dry, and we'll see you next time.
Next time. We'll have something really hilarious to say then. Maybe.
Just for fun, I'm going to try to fall down a flight of stairs.
Ooh, tell me ahead of time so I have the camera ready.
Just so we can lighten things up a little bit.
Just for kicks. Okay.